Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. So this is the timeline of Christianity, part 3, aka Judaic. Okay, so we left off finishing up confessionalism, which again is about the religion of the ruler, determining the religion of the territory. It's about the state demanding a specific confession, which was central to political loyalty in their minds, and the social order and the process of reinforcing the social order. The Enlightenment is also a disgusting age. Again, no offense to anybody, but if you think about it, I'm sure you'll agree that I'm right. Some things that occurred in the Enlightenment seem to be good at face value. People start discussing whether slavery is a bad thing. Okay, people start thinking about using science to try to understand Christianity and to try to prove or disprove Christianity more than they did before and with more freedom, as the story goes at least. But ultimately, the disgusting age of enlightenment just added more pathetic evil to the practices and demonic marriages that were occurring. This age was said to cause immense philosophical, intellectual, and culture change in Europe. This age was full of controlled opposition who pretended to value empirical science, individual liberty, and skepticism toward traditional authority. Again, they were skeptical to authority, but there wasn't really individual rights as such. Okay, that's a more complex topic when it comes to how free were they. To make a long story short, there were still people coercing people, there were still people in secret societies, but there was this kind of, theatrical, sort of propaganda-based freedom. Liberty, for example, is being used in the sense of occult liberty. We'll talk about the French Revolution, the American revolutions momentarily here. The Statue of Liberty, for example, is a symbol of of a female psyche, for example, who's in a trance, who believes she's free, right? Freedom, free to be dumb, free, dumb. And DOM can be MOD without the E, where you get the word mode. In fact, the word mode is scrambled in its entirety into the word freedom. So it's a certain mode or state of mind. It's a mindset, right? Setting the stage, settlers, setting someone up. It's a mindset, setting a trap that someone has where they believe that they are free, but they're really just being manipulated by the so-called experts. The Age of Enlightenment was about the so-called experts manipulating people as Freemasons, who were very central to the Age of Enlightenment. They were central to the Jacobinism that was going on in France, the Jacobin movement, which was a key part of the French Revolution. And they believed in the self-direction of humanity using the quote-unquote experts, using scientists like Freud and Jung, who were said to be gay. Okay? They were people who were very much influenced by Enlightenment thinking. Voltaire, okay? Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, who said that alcoholism was taking the wisest and the best of every generation. Why? Because of Reformation, Counter-Reformation, because of Roman thinking, because of secret society thinking, because of cults, okay, because of confessionalism, because of the Enlightenment, because of the age of Romanticism and realism, because of the art and the thinking and the culture of the ages. People were being screened out when they had more sense than other people, and it was a long process. The Enlightenment is like the Luciferian light in mind. Ment meaning mind, as in the word mental. Government, enlightenment, establishment. They talked about predestination and what was meant to be versus the self-direction of scientists who were often gay. They formed an unholy alliance of feminists, LGBT people, and scientists who were against the church, and anybody who had some axe to grind with the church, and there came a series of revolutions. And it would lead to revolutions as a means to reinforce what you might call the secret social order of the world, but a lot of these people are well known. The Mars family, the Sacklers, the Sachs, the Waltons, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, J.P. Morgan and his family, the royal families of Europe. Okay, a lot of these guys are well known. And these people were people who were influenced by Enlightenment era philosophy. Okay, to make a long story short, who are the so-called experts? They're people who are in the same clubs and in the same families as the governing class. Sometimes they were an illegitimate child, but they often had strong ties to the governing class. The Enlightenment era was perhaps the most potent era of controlled opposition since the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, where Constantine claims that he saw crossing the sky in 312 AD. Perhaps before that. They learn from years and years of social control and psychology, right? Psyche, again, where we get the word psychology, which goes back to the cult psychology of the Greek and Roman societies, the Cretans, okay? The cults in Mesopotamia that influenced Europe, what have you. And these Mesopotamian cults are said to have spread. They started in Africa. They spread to the Mesopotamian area, the Middle East. They spread to Southern Europe, and they spread all throughout Europe. As you know, you should see the video series I did on Dionysus, aka Liber, where we get the word liberty, right? Psyche, where we get the word psychology, was a female put in a trance who's raped and forced to help build the cults of various people, including Pan, whose name means all for all the Greco-Roman deities, and Liber, where we get the word liberty, was another name for Dionysus, aka Bacchus, who is considered a young Zeus, and Zeus is like the main rape deity of the entire world. Pretty straightforward. Have any questions, put in the comments, run it back and listen to it again if you need to. Okay. So it's said to cause immense philosophical, intellectual, and cultural change in Europe. Deists argued that God had created the universe with natural laws and that he did not intervene in human affairs. Now, what kind of person would want you to believe that God didn't intervene in human affairs? The same type of person, same type of person, if he's a bad person, who would want you to believe that God did intervene. Okay, they're trying to manipulate social life, social relations, frats and fraternizing, social engineering, social club, and socializing. Who's dating who? A date, a timeline. Mate, rate, date, fate, hate, late, rhyme and reason, pan and pun, and so on and so forth. Many people were rejecting the miracles of religion. People like John Locke argued that the government should not force religion on people while they had a hidden agenda like the Freemasons. They could very well be working toward telling the truth one day once all the righteous are screened out and the despicable types of people who have ruined the world to the best of their ability, causing countless people to starve to death, people being raped and murdered and drugged and on, while they then turn around and say, I guess that's how it went. Aw, shucks, who would have thought? Okay? Bunch of worms saying, who would have thought we're not really chosen? You like that? You like that? Okay, fucking retarded. Anyway. They challenged the old order and encouraged a new world order. And the Bible also talks about a new order of the world. And of course, you can imagine they twist that as well, where people were to be even more confused and controlled. I turn the page there. That is what we see now, the global era. Okay. So even though we're still in the Enlightenment, really, we're considered to be in the global era. The missionary movement of the 19th century took off to make sure that the next phase of colonialism would go smoothly. Protestant missions inspired by revivalists and evangelical movements in Europe and North America corrupted the world more. Evil missionary societies such as the London Missionary Society, the Church Missionary Society, and American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions sent thousands of Satanists abroad. If they want to debate me about whether or not they're evil, I'm willing to debate them anytime. So let's end this talking about Matthew 7. Go to verse 21. In the section of true and false disciples. So how do we know that I'm right and they're wrong? Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Now, is joining an evil church the will of God? No. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? You claim to, but you weren't in my name, and you were just reinforcing Satanism. Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. I'm like, what about our church? It goes back to Rome, right? Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic. Okay, what about the Reformation? We were correcting them. Say, I never knew any of you. You all worship the devil and the Jewish and European governing class. And you've created some token minorities who have intermarried with you over the years. You're evildoers. Evildoers. Only the one who does the will of God and the divine order, who doesn't cheat me out of my right to lead, who actually is moral, who keeps the greatest commandment, who keeps the golden rule. You did not do that. Going to verse 34. You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. What your church speaks by its actions, what your church's spirit is full of. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in him, and an evil man brings evil out of the evil stored in him. But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken, every empty action. For by your words, by your actions, by your spirit, you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. You goats. Uncle Sam isn't the only goat. Every nation on this planet, every organized religion, every group, everybody who's cheating me out of my right to lead is a goat. And even now they're being separated as 189,000 people die every day. Are they going to the same place as those who are loyal to God? No. Am I saying this just to, insult people? No. I'm saying this so you know the truth. The way is the truth and the life. The word truth has the word hurt scrambled into it for a reason. Just like I said about freedom, having mode scrambled into it. Are you truly free? Or are you a slave to sin? Are you a slave to false narratives? Are you a slave to the governing class? Are you a slave to cancel culture and conservatism? What are you conserving? Conserve. Publican is a tax collector. A tax collector for the state. You're conserving the falsehoods that go into the economy, which help create the situation for people to be coerced into bed. That is disgusting. How can somebody call themselves a man when they're helping coerce women and children into bed, and they're silencing the masses of victims? I wish that all these churches had done the right thing and they had petty disagreements, but that's not the situation here. Or relatively minor disagreements, rather. They all did the wrong thing, and they're arguing over which supervillains can be in charge to what degree, and quite often they sit at the table and hash it out and split up the pie. And it is heartbreaking. Thank you.